Hello everyone and welcome back to another single button guide. Today we're going to talk about the Demonology Warlock, the single button guide for that class spec. As always, we're going to go through the stats, talents, rotation, and gameplay and end up with a summary. So if you are here just for the 3 minutes of where I just tell you exactly in 3 minutes what you need to know, you can jump already now to the summary at the end of the video. But if you want to really know everything about this spec here, you're more than welcome to stick around and watch the entire video. It's probably going to be between like an hour long. But you're going to learn so much about this spec and class and guide, about how we are utilizing the single button assistant best with this spec here. So, enough talking, let's get to it. So, let's talk about stats. So as you can see, first we talk about intellect. Intellect is the most important stat. Why am I saying intellect? Well, the thing is, I am very focused on having the highest upgrade level of an item. For example, look at my ring here. It's a veteran item and it actually also has the best stats that I can get. It has haste and crit, which is phenomenal for us. I would only replace this ring ever if I actually received an item that was in a higher upgrade level. So that means right now you can see here in the right corner we have veteran here, but I would only change this one here for actually getting up to a champion, hero or myth. Even if we pick like something else, like, you know, something, it could be this dagger here. Okay, that has Chris and hey, this one here, for example. Even if I had this one here, which is an explore item, which is technically the worst item, I would only change it if it gave me a higher upgrade level or if it was the same upgrade level but with better secondary stats. I would never go down an upgrade level. Even if I got an item where it's like, oh my god, this has the perfect stats. No, if it has a lower eye level / upgrade level, I would never pick it. I mean, of course, if it was a veteran item and it was maybe like one level low, like, you know, if it's still a veteran item, the other one, but it was upgrade 2 out of 8 and the one I had was 3 out of 8, you can take the one with 2 out of 8 that has better stats and just upgrade it at the upgrade vendor. You know, no big deal. What I'm trying to say is, you know, never go down in upgrade levels. Like, you know, never go from a veteran down to adventure or go from a hero down to a champion just to get better stats. No. We stay on the upgrade level we are and we only go up. So, you know, you go from explore to adventure to veteran to champion to hero to myth. Only go up, never go down in the upgrade level. So that's settled. Intellect, very important. We want the highest eye level. Intellect is scaling with our minions, demons, curses, damage, anything. We want as much intellect as possible. Secondly, we have haste and critical strike. Both are very important. Haste is more important, but both are like very important, and you would always like to try have both the stats in case. Like kind of like you can see my weapon here, crit haste, and my ring, crit haste. That is like the best possible scenario you can get. So let's try and get some information about what the stats actually do. I know there's a lot of text on the screen right now, but yeah, it's just like it's a very complicated and very advanced build, this Demonology Warlock. So haste increases your casting speed, resource generation. So basically your spells is going to be cast faster when you have haste. So instead of maybe using 1.5 seconds on summoning a Charhound, you will be using 1.4 depending on how much haste you have. Of course, the more haste, the faster to cast spells. Also resource generation. For example, you will be able to cast more spells faster and quicker with more haste, which also means we're going to be getting more soul shards. So it's just going to, you know, make the entire rotation just more smooth. We also and the attack rate of most demons except wild imps. So basically our demons is actually also getting benefits from haste. So for example, the Fell Guard and so on is actually, according to, I've been researching a lot about this build here, and according to what I can find is that haste actually helps increasing the attack speed on our demons, except wild imps, which is these imps that keep spawning, because they have a base stats based, but they kind of work as a so you have pets in the game and you have guardians. Guardians is a thing that summons that has nothing to do with your stats, but they just help you. They act as a guardian, so they don't get haste from us, they don't get crit from us, they don't get any stats from us. They just always cast a fireball on 1.5 seconds, something about that, fell ball or whatever it's called. So they don't benefit from it. But all the other demons we are summoning actually benefits from it. It's just not these wild imps. They don't benefit from our stats, just so you know. So making your rotation feel smoother and your summons more active overall. So yeah, haste is just Omega. It makes everything like, you know, more resources, faster spells, faster attacks, faster minions, you know, just overall, it's just fantastic. Then we have critical strike, increase the chance to deal double damage with spells and demon attacks. So demons, of course, will also get it from it, except wild imps. Thanks to demonic tactic and demonic brutality, crit not only gives higher crit rate, but also gives more crits harder for both you and your pets, providing strong synergy with demonic core and burst phases. So just to let you know, what are these things we actually talk about? Well, the thing is, we have a few talents in here. We have, for example, this one here, demonic brutality. Critical strikes from your spells and your demons deal 6% increased damage. So that basically means the more we crit, all our crits, they just deal 6% more damage. So instead of only dealing, what is it, like you know, normally you would deal like 100% more damage, I can't remember what it is. Now it's with 6% additional on top of it. So we're going to be critting even harder than normal, which is super nice. Then we also have demonic tactics here. Your spells have 5% increased chance to deal a critical strike, which of course is very nice. But the last one in here is the most important one. You gain 10% more of critical strike stats from all sources. This means if you have 20 crit from, you know, armor, whatever, then you would actually have 22. It is just passively giving you 10% more crit from all the sources you have. So if you have like 20% crit from armor, gear, so on, you will then have 22% because it gives you 10% more, which is amazing. So really, really good. We get more crit, we get more crit damage. So all very nice, and yeah, just works very nice. So again, crit is just like it damage wise, it just helps a lot. That's what I can say when it comes to crit. Mastery. So basically, mastery. We don't have to look at all that text for that. So mastery increases the damage done by your demons, which of course is good because I mean demons are doing a good amount of damage, but there's also just so much damage coming from your own spells. Like, you know, for example, Demon Bolt here can deal like 500 to 1 million damage. You know, we are dealing damage ourselves a lot. So by just having a lot of mastery, it just increase the damage done by your demons. Yeah, okay, I was just like reading that it actually said it was increasing my damage and demons, but no, it is just increase the damage done by your demons. Exactly. And that's why all the guides I have been able to find, all the websites with stats and so on, they all said mastery was down here. So yeah, basically it increases the damage of your minions, so boost the damage of all your demons and pet-based abilities through Master Demonology. It scales best in multi-target and sustained pet-heavy situation, but slightly trails haste and crit in pure single-target SPA play. Exactly, because it's basically just your pets that deals damage. It has nothing to do with you. So yeah, sucks. Not sucks, but you know what I mean. It's just not that great. Then we have versatility. Add a flat increase to damage and healing while reducing damage taken. Reliable, but at least impactful raw DPS. I mean, if you are someone who likes to do a lot of solo content, then versatility is, I mean, great, because versatility is both basically just increasing your damage, your healing, and decreases the damage you take. So it's going to make you more tanky, dealing more damage, dealing more healing. So if you play like only alone, solo content, stuff like that, great. You could probably go with versatility if you want. But if you're gonna go for pure damage, pure, you know, you want to be the one in the group that deals most damage, carrying the group, and so on, so on, so on, then versatility is not for you, and you would rather, you know, go with crit and haste. So yeah, that's the stats. Then it's time to talk about the talents. So basically we have a dungeon talent as usually, and then I always also create a raid talent. It's using the exactly same attacks, the same abilities and so on. It just has a few passives that deal way more like single target damage. It's all about, like, you know, dealing most damage to a boss. So if you're against a boss fight in a raid, this will deal more damage to that one. If you are in a dungeon, delve, open world, questing, anything else, not raid but anything else, then I recommend using the dungeon build. So again, if you're doing raids, use the raid build. If you're doing anything else, use the dungeon build, because that build is way more better to attacking everything around you when you have more than one mob. So dungeon build for everything, except raids. For raid, we use the raid build. We are using the Diabolist. When I looked on different guides and I was trying to learn different things about demonology, I didn't find anyone that was using Soul Harvester. Honestly, I couldn't find anyone using it. Even when looking up data, like for people who run dungeons, it was impossible to find data of people actually using Soul Harvester. So that just automatically screams to me that we should probably avoid that spec, and we're going with Diabolist, which is pretty cool. I mean, running with as Demonology, because it just makes you feel like you're summoning even more demons, even though you don't summon demons, but you're kind of summoning demons in a way. Yeah, whatever. Let's go through the talents so you really understand what all the talents are about. So let's do the talents. We're gonna start with the left side, then the middle side, and the right side. In the left side, let's start with that. First of all, we have Fell Domination, basically making your next pet summon free, and it will take only 90%, well, it will be 95% faster. We also have Soul Leech, all single target damage done by you and your demons, grant you and your pet a shadowy shield that absorbs 3% of your damage dealt, up to 10% of maximum health. So basically, you're going to have all the time a 10% shield on you, basically all the time. We also have Burning Rush, what makes you run very fast, but also it's going to drain your life by a lot. So it's kind of like nice to move somewhere close fast, but you're also going to drain your life, and you cannot get below 100% of your normal movement speed when this is activated. Then we also have Demon Skin, increasing your armor by 90%, making you very tanky. And now your Soul Leech, this absorption shield up here, is keeping automatically regeneration 0.2 of this shield every 1 second. And again, can now go up to 10%. I think without this one here, it was not 10%, it was something like 5%. But now with this one here, it's 10%. So now you're both getting shield from doing single target damage, but also from this one here that just keeps giving you 0.2% of that shield up to 10%. And that is why whenever you're out of combat, you would always have like a fully shield. So for example, if you have 10 million HP, you're going to have a shield on 1 million. So basically, technically, you're going to have 11 million HP because it keeps giving you a shield with 10% more HP, which is very, very nice. Makes us very tanky. Then we have Fell Armor. When Soul Leech absorbs damage, 10% of the damage taken is absorbed and spread out over 5 seconds, and also reduce damage taken by 3%. So basically, if you know the Brewmaster tank at World of Warcraft, you know every time they take damage, they spread the damage over time. This is the same thing here. Every time you absorb damage, 10% of that damage that was absorbed is now spread over 5 seconds, kind of like to help you with taking more damage faster. Like kind of like if you get like a very strong attack on you, then it's at least going to take 10% of that and spread it out over time, so you have like a bigger chance to heal yourself. Also an upgrade to Burning Rush. Now it deals 10% less damage to yourself, and you can move 20% faster. Also, we get Curse of Tongue, Curse of Exhaustion, and we also already have Curse of Weakness. Curse of Weakness is basically making them attack melee, like, enemy attack, like attacking with your weapon, 20% slower. Then we also have Curse of Tongue, which makes them cast spells 10% slower, and also Curse of Exhaustion, which is like where they move 50% slower. So basically a curse to make them cast slower, attack slower, and run slower. So pretty nice, just all. I mean, the main reason for why we're picking this one here is to get this one here, which is increasing our stamina by 10%. That's very nice. Again, becoming a little bit more tanky. Then we have Demonic Circle. It's basically just like you set up the portal here, and then you can use another spell called Teleport. This was called Circle. You use Teleport, and you teleport over to that circle. It can help you, like, moving away from some AoE, or from a boss that he might gonna hit here. Then you can very fast come over here, and you can continue casting spells and doing more damage. We also have Mortal Coil, which is a very nice spell. It's kind of like one of your interruption spells as well. Many people don't realize this is also an interruption spell, but imagine this one here was casting a spell we don't want. Then I can use Mortal Coil on it, and boom, it will be feared for 3 seconds. So a very nice spell that interrupts it and make it fear for 3 seconds. We of course also have other interruption spells like Shadowy Fury, Axe Toes, Fear, but this is just like our instant cast get feared, stop casting whatever you're casting. This, of course, doesn't work on a boss. This only works on, or can we say this works on mobs, like trash mobs that can actually be feared. On a boss, he would just be like, sure. But it also heals you for 10% of your maximum health, which is also very nice. It's a quick little self heal. It can also be used in a raid, because I mean, if the raid is about like to do some big damage, you could heal back 10% very fast. Then we had this one here, which increased our stamina by 10%. We also have increased attack speed of our primary pet by 5%. Very nice, because I mean, this build is all about pets, so more pets damage. We also have increased damage done by your... Sorry, I was reading this one here wrong. Increase the attack speed of your primary pet by 5%, and then increase the damage done by your primary pet by 5%. So we have 5% more attack speed, 5% more damage. Very nice. And increase you and your pet's maximum health by 5%, so even more HP. Very, very nice. Then we have Sweet Souls. Your health stone heal you for an additional 10% of your maximum health, so this only works for you, but any party or raid member using a health stone also heal you for that amount. So basically, when you use a health stone, it's going to heal you for 10% more. When someone else is using your health stones from your soul well here that they get, you will also be healed for that 10% bonus that you normally would get. So imagine you have like a raid with 20 people, they all use your health stones, you would just randomly get healing all the time, which is quite cool. So just letting you know. Then we have Demonic Gateway. Basically, you can create a portal. For example, I could create from portal from here to over there. So for some reason, I'm not allowed to cast it here inside Stormwind. I think it's because they don't want us to like block NPCs and stuff like that. But it would spawn like a portal that I could click on, and then I would be teleported over there. Then we also have Dark Pact, which is sacrificing 20% of our health and giving you a shield for 200% of that, plus additional 200k. So a very, very big shield. For example, if I use it now, I'll get a shield of 4 million, like literally 4 million health, which is quite insane. We also have, we have a defensive spell called Unending Resolve, which basically reduces all damage we take by 25 and granting humidity to interrupt, silence, and push back for 8 seconds. Here, we can either choose that we want 50% more additional reduced damage or a reduced cooldown by 45 seconds. The raid build is using the one where we reduce the damage by 15, because in raids, usually you have all these like big phases where you're going to take a lot of damage. So therefore, we wanted to actually reduce more damage. In dungeons, you're going to be using the spell more often, because if you know trash mobs, you're going to get faster to bosses. So that's why we wanted to reduce cooldown on it. We also, just to do a little jumping, we have this one here from the hero trio here called Infernal Vitality. When you use Unending Resolve, it's going to heal you for 30% of your maximum health for 10 seconds, which is really nice. So you just pop it, and now you're going to heal 30% life back, which is nice, just super nice. So I really like that one. Then we have Shadow Fury. This is only one we use in dungeon build and not in the raid build. You can see if I go into the raid build, it's disappeared. So we don't use this one here because it's basically a stun. So imagine like, it's an AoE stun. These two people here were like casting a spell we don't want them to be casting, so we can stun them both. Boom. Now they both stunned for 3 seconds. Very nice. We don't use it in raid because you're not stunning anyone in a raid. So, the bosses cannot be stunned or anything. There's almost no trash mobs. So we don't use it in a raid. Then we have Frequent Donor, reduce the cooldown of Dark Pact by 15 seconds. So, the sacrifice shield. Also Wild Imp, which is the imps that keep spawning around you, these imps here. And also spawns from the spell called Hand of Gul'dan. This one here. They now increase damage by 20. Also, we have this one here, Shadow Ball damage is increased by 8%. You could take twice in it, like you could actually increase it twice in case you want your Shadow Ball to deal more damage. Most people that plays Demonology, they don't play with this one here at all in the dungeon build. They actually play with this one over here, where it reduces the cast time of Soulstone and Great Healthstone by 50%. And then they also go with Resolute Barrier over here. But attacks received that deals at least 5% of your health decreased unending resolve cooldown by 10 seconds cannot occur more than 25 seconds. So basically, whenever you take like a big hit, it reduces the cooldown of an unending resolve by 10 seconds every 25 seconds. And I'm like, I mean, okay, but maybe it's a good thing, but I'm just like, nah, you know what? I actually prefer having just a little bit shadow damage, extra shadow ball damage, and also normally in dungeon builds, I don't pick this one as well, called Fail Synergy, where Soul Leech, which is this shield we have, also heal you for 50% and your pet for 50, heals you for 15 and your pet for 50 of the absorption it grants. So basically now our Soul Leech is keep making our shield, but it also keeps healing yourself. And I'm like, okay, what do I want? Passive healing all the time, or a lower cooldown on one of my defensive cooldowns? So I'm like, screw this. I am picking self heal all the time passively, and I'm also picking just a little bit more damage on Shadow Bolt. Sorry to say, but I feel like that is way more important. The raid build though is removing Shadow Fury here and taking more damage in Shadow Bolt, which is fine because we're not going to stun. And again, you could also remove this stun one here and go full damage in Shadow Ball, but then you're not going to be able to help your team with interrupting, which sometimes could be important. But again, it's up to you. You can remove Shadow Fury if you want, and go a bit more damage in Shadow Bolt. Then we also have Demonic Tactics. Your spells have a 5% increased chance to deal a critical strike, so basically 5% more crit. And also you gain 10% more of critical strike stats from all sources. So that basically means if you're getting 20% crit from your armor, it will now give you 22, because it will add additional 10% on the crit you have. Basically the crit you're getting from sources, like, yeah. It will just give you like 10% more crit usually. So yeah, just imagine if you have 20% crit, it's going to give you 22% more crit. So just like every time you get an item and it says it has 1000 crit, let's say that will give you 1% more crit, then it's going to give you 1.1 more crit. So it just increases this crit you get from all sources by 10%. Very nice. Then we have this one here we just talked about, where now your Soul Leech, your shield that you keep getting, is also healing you for 50%. And your pet for 50%, which is quite nice. We also have Soul Link. 10% of all damage you take is taken by your Demon Pet instead. So now you actually only take 90% damage, because 10% of it is always going to your pet, which is very nice. Then we also have Pack of Gluttony. Healthstone you conjure yourself are now Demonic Healthstone and can be used multiple times in combat. Demonic Healthstone cannot be traded. Now it also instantly restores 35% health. So that basically means it's now healing you 35%, but can actually be used multiple times in combat. So normally you can only use a Healthstone one time in combat, and then you have to wait till you're out of combat and get into combat again. But now with this one here, as a Warlock, you can keep using this Healthstone every minute until you don't have any more charges. You could probably just make charges again, but still, it's quite efficient in a raid. We also have Soul Conduit. Every soul shard you spend has a 5% chance to be refunded. So whenever you use soul shards, it has a chance to give you soul shards back. And then last we have Soul Burn. It's a bit of a special spell because it improves the next spell you're about to use. So for example, you can improve Demonic Circle Teleport, where it increases your movement speed by 50 and make you immune to snare and roots. You can also use it on Demonic Gate, so Demonic Gate can be cast instantly instead of you have to cast it on 1.8 seconds. You can also use it on Drain Life, where you get an Absorb Shield equal to the amount of healing done for 30 seconds. This shield cannot exceed 30% of your maximum health, so basically use first Soul Burn, and then you can Drain, and it's going to give you a big shield. Or Health Funnel, where you're going to restore 140% more health and reduce damage taken by your pet by 30%, so you could heal your pet for even more. Or you could use it on your Healthstone, where it increases the healing of your Healthstone by 30% and increase your maximum health by 20. A lot of people is macroing this one here. I just don't like macroing it, because you could create a macro where you're saying cast Soul Burn and then cast Drain Life. So if we use first Soul Burn automatically, and then, because when you actually use Soul Burn, it doesn't trigger a global cooldown on your spells. That's why you can actually throw it into a macro together with the other spells. But the problem is that every time you're, for example, using any of these spells here, like, you know, your Mother 6, this one, this one, this one, you are going to use a Soul Shard. That could be punishing when you have a rotation that also uses Soul Shards to deal damage. So it's up to you. Do you want to macro it so you can remove it and then just always, whenever you use Drain Life, it's going to use Soul Burn first, but it could also be a bit risky. That's why I just like to have Soul Burn. So if I know like I'm going to heal like bit heal, then, you know, Soul Burn, Drain, and now it's going to be draining with Soul Burn. That's how I prefer doing it. So yeah, that's why I have it down on number 5. But that was the talent on the left side. Let's move on to the middle. Then we have Diabolist here in the middle. First of all, we have Diabolic Ritual. Spending a Soul Shard on a damaging spell grants Diabolic Ritual for 20 seconds. While Diabolic Ritual is active, each Soul Shard spent on a damaging spell reduces its duration by 1 second. Let me try to explain. When you use the first time a spell that actually uses a Soul Shard. So for example, here we have a pet here, we have like this one here, and let me use a Hand of Gul'dan, for example. Then when I use a Soul Shard spell, you can see I get this one here, Diabolic Ritual Overlord. Now it's going to count down from, it states it's 20 seconds here, but I mean this one here already started on 16. But it basically it's going to count down from 20 down to 0. And then when it happens, now you can see here, your next Soul Shard spend summons an Overlord that unleashes a devastating attack. So now if I used a Soul Shard attacking spell again, it would actually summon this demon here to do like an attack with us. It can summon 3 different demons. It can summon like, what is it? Like it can summon an Overlord, Mother of Chaos, or a Pit Lord. So when you do the summon here, it actually just it summons the demon for like a half second, doing some kind of cool animation, and then they cast a spell and they disappear. That's basically it. But it says here, when Diabolic Ritual expire, you gain the Demonic Art, causing your next Hand of Gul'dan. Okay, so sorry, it wasn't actually your Soul Shard spell you're going to use. The first trigger effect to actually make it start running is any Soul Shard damaging a spell. But then, when it's done, counting down to 20 seconds, then when you use your next Hand of Gul'dan, it's going to summon either an Overlord, Mother of Chaos, or a Pit Lord that unleashes a devastating attack against your enemies. And it's going to like rotate through them. So, you know, it's kind of like random who you start with, but it's going to like rotate through them. Even though I actually always think I kind of get Overlord first and Mother of Chaos second and Pit Lord third. But yeah, whatever. But again, you start attacking with whenever you start attacking with a Soul Shard attack that uses Soul Shards, you know, the Soul Shards we have in the top left corner, it's going to give you the buff, it's going to count down. When it gets to 0, then your next Hand of Gul'dan, it's going to summon one of these Chaos Lords. So, when it summons the one called Overlord, enemies damaged by your Overlord have their souls cloven, increases damage taken by you and your pets by 5%. So when we actually do summon the Overlord, we're going to deal 5% more damage to all that he attacked for 15 seconds. Very nice. Then we have when you always gain the benefit of Soul Burn when casting Demonic Circle Teleport, increase your movement speed by 50% and making you immune to snare and roots. So basically, you know, before, if we use Demonic Circle, and if we use Soul Burn, and then we use Demonic Circle Teleport, then we get 50% movement speed and we cannot be rooted or snared. I think that's how it is, right? Rooted and snared, yeah. But now you never have to use Soul Burn on that one here because it will just always be there now. It will always just be there. So pretty nice. So you can save a Soul Shard on that one. Then we also have fire damage increased by 4 and damage dealt by your demons is increased by 4. So fire damage increased by 4 and damage dealt by demons 4. What's not to like? Then we also have Demonic Art, increases the damage of your next Hand of Gul'dan by 100% and reduces its cast time by 50. So when it actually goes down to 0, this buff you get from using your first Soul Shard damaging the spell, Then, of course, as it says, Hand of Gul'dan is the one that actually summons the demon, but now it's also only when this effect happens. Now your Hand of Gul'dan is also going to deal 100% more damage and reduce cast time by 50, which is quite nice. We also have Summoning Demonic Tyrant grants Diabolic Ritual and reduces its duration by 3%. So when you're using one of the manual cooldowns we have, because you can see here the normal single bot rotation is already using like 3 or 4 cooldowns. Okay, quite nice. The cooldown we have to use ourselves is called Summon Demonic Tyrant, where you summon like a very big guy. And that one here is now also going to trigger the Diabolistic damage spell, where it's going to start on 20 and count down to 0, and then it's going to give you that effect we just talked about. But it also reduces its duration by 3%. So that basically means instead of starting on 20, it's going to start on, 17 or something like that. So still pretty cool. So we can both get it from this effect here, but we can also get it from this effect here. So kind of like a nice little synergy going on there. Then also Summoning Demonic Tyrant is empowered, dealing 70% increased damage and increase the damage of your demons by 20% while active. So now also the Demonic Tyrant is just way stronger, which is quite nice with this build here, because in the other build here we're not really having that bonus effect to him, but in this build here he's now 70% stronger, which is quite nice. Then if you summon Maul of Chaos, from this one here, if Maul of Chaos is summoned, empower your next Shadow Bolt to become an Infernal Bolt. So that basically means your Shadow Bolt is now going to be replaced by a green spell called Infernal Bolt, which is now hurl a bolt involved in infernal flames of the abyss, dealing 1.9 million fire damage to your enemy target and generating 3 soul shards. Very nice. I mean, 2 million damage, just boom, dead. Then we had this one here we already talked about, that when you're using Unending Resolve, it's also going to heal you for 30% of your maximum health. Very nice, over 10 seconds. And then lastly, Hand of Gul'dan deals 50% increased damage for each soul shard spent. So basically, you can see Hand of Gul'dan can use up to 3 soul shards. So that basically means it can deal 50% more damage, 30% more damage, and 45% more damage, which is quite nice. It's one of our main rotation spells. It deals like, 150k damage, but it also summons 3 wild imps. Very nice. Lastly, we have Summoning a Pit Lord causes your next Hand of Gul'dan to become Ruination. So, now we have a bonus effect from summoning the Overlord, summoning Maul of Chaos, and now down here, when summoning Pit Lord, our Hand of Gul'dan is being replaced with Ruination, calls down a demon-infested meteor from the depths of the Twisting Nether, dealing 1.4 million chaos damage on impact to all enemies within 8 yards of the target and summoning 3 wild imps. Damage is reduced by on 8 targets. So instead of only dealing 150k damage, it now deals 1.4 million damage. That's quite nice. So that's basically what the Diabolist is about. It's about this thing here that keeps happening passively every time you use soul shards, and it keeps summoning these bosses. So you're gonna see a lot of like big bosses standing behind you. They're basically gonna like appear, throw that spell, and disappear again. So it looks very, very cool. So yeah, that's what this middle tree is about. And then lastly, we have the right side, Demonology side. First of all, we have a spell called Demoniac. Passively grant the access to the following ability, Demon Bolt. So we have the spell Demon Bolt, but send a Fury Soul of Fallen Demon at the enemy, causing 360k damage, Shadow Flame damage, generate 2 souls. But it now gives a thing called Demonic Core. When your wild, it doesn't give it, but it's affected by it. So when your wild imps expend, so basically when they finished, when you summon demonic imps, they are there for like 5 of their fireballs usually. They usually cast 5 fireballs and then they disappear. When your wild imps expend, all of the energy, or are imploded. So basically, when they are done casting fireballs like 5 times, or are imploded, where this is our spell we have down here where we can actually explode them. Where they deal AoE damage, we can explode them instead. When they either are, done casting or they get exploded, you have 10% chance to absorb their life essence, granting you a stack of demonic core. So again, whenever they are finished casting their fireballs or we explode them, there's 10% chance for each of them to give us a stack. And when you actually have this, well, we're actually gonna come to that. When you summon Dreadstalkers fade away, you have a 100% chance to absorb their life essence and granting you a stack of demonic core. So now our wild imps, whenever they disappear, they have a 10% chance to give us a stack, and whenever you're casting your Dreadstalkers and they disappear, they 100% give you a stack. So what does this mean? What happens when you get these stacks? Because you're gonna get a lot of stacks. So what's going to happen is Demonic Core reduce the cast time of your Demon Bolt by 100% and maximum of 4 stacks. So whenever all these pets they disappear, they can keep giving you stacks, which means our Demon Bolt is going to be instant cast, which is just making the entire rotation more interesting. Because I mean, it already now deals 400k damage almost. As you can see here, we have Demon Bolt here, and it has no cooldown. It just takes a lot of time to cast. It's literally 4.1 second cast time. You would never really just like stand and cast this one here. You would, if you have a room where you need to cast something just like a filler, you would usually use Shadow Bolt because it almost deals like it's close to the damage. It's like 230k, but at least this one here summons like, Demon Bolt summons, gives us 2 soul shots, where Shadow Bolt only gives 1 soul shot. So that's why a Demon Bolt is only a spell you pretty much use for like when it's instant cast, which we are getting from this one here. So again, I know this one here is a bit complicated to talk about. Whenever your wild imps they disappear from either casting 5 fireballs or you explode them, they have a 10% chance to give you a stack, so you can cast a instant cast Demon Bolt. And whenever your Dreadstalkers, which is these you are summoning as well here, disappear, they 100% give you a stack, so you can cast instant Demon Balls. And Demon Balls is a very strong spell that deals damage and gives us a lot of soul shots. Good, let's get away from that spell now. Then we have Implosion. Demonic forces suck all of your wild imps toward your target and then cause them to violently explode, dealing 70k Shadow Flame damage to all enemies within 8 yards. This is a great spell we're using for what you can say, like whenever there's more than 2 mobs. It's a great spell for when there's more than 2 mobs, but on single target bosses and raiders and so on, you don't really use this one here. Of course, if it's a boss where he summons a lot of mobs or trash mobs, then it's a nice thing to use it because it will deal damage to all of them. But whenever it's like one boss, you rather want to fire like the fireballs from your imps instead. Then we also have called Dreadstalkers. Basically, you're summoning 2 of these Dreadstalkers that attacks the enemy for 12 seconds. Very strong. Then we have Implosion, deals 10% increased damage. Consuming a demonic core has a chance to summon a wild imp. So it actually does 2 things. Implosion deals 10% increased damage. That's the explosion one. Now also, consuming a demonic core has a chance to summon a wild imp. So whenever we are using a demonic core on an instant cast Demon Bolt, there's actually a chance to also summon a wild imp at the same time. Then we also have when your Dreadstalkers charge into battle, their Dreadbite attacks now hits all targets within 8 yards and dealing 10% more damage. This one here is one that only the dungeon build uses. The raid build doesn't use it, as you can see here, because we don't want AoE damage. We basically don't need AoE damage. There's better things down here that we can take instead of that one here. So yeah, that one is not for the raid build, but only the dungeon leveling delve build. Then we have Carnivore Stalkers. Your Dreadstalkers attacks have a 10% chance to trigger an additional Dreadbite. So now instead of like, every time they like attack, they have a 10% chance to do like a double attack. Then we also have your passively summoned wild imps to fight for you every 12 seconds. A lot of people are like thinking, why do I keep having imps coming out of me? Like, why do I spawn imps all the time? That's basically because of this one here. It just keeps spawning a new imp every 12 seconds that is ready for like fighting for you, which is quite cool. Yeah. Then we have Soul Strike. Teaches your primary Fel Guard following ability, Soul Strike. Strike into the soul of the enemy, dealing 66k shadow damage. So now our Fel Guard here has a spell called Soul Strike that it also keeps using. We can actually put it down there. It keeps using this one here. It actually also has a threat one, like a taunt spell, but that one is automatically disabled when you go into dungeon and raids. But yeah, it basically gets a spell where you can deal more damage. Then we also have Demonic Strength. Infuse your Fel Guard with Demonic Strength, commanding it to charge to the target and unleash a Fel Storm will deal 225% increased damage. Very, very nice AoE damage, but it actually also deals a lot of single target damage, which is why we also have it in the raid build. Then in the raid build, as you can see, we're using these two here. We have this one here in the raid build. Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt deal 2% additional damage per demon you have summoned. So the more demons we have around us, the more damage Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt deal. But again, Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt is purely single target damage, so that's why we don't use that one in the dungeon build. What we use is in the raid build. Both the dungeon raid build uses this one here, Rune of Shadows, increase all damage done by your pet by 4% and reduce the cast time of Shadowbolt by 25% and increase its damage by 40%. Very nice. I mean, the main reason for why we have this one here is of course for the 4% pet damage, but still the Shadowbolt damage is also very nice. As well for the raid build, we have this one here, increase the critical strike chance of your Wild Imp Fel Firebolt by 15%. Then we also have Fel Invocation. Soul Strike deals 20% increased damage and generate a Soul Shard. So that basically means now when our Fel Guard, our dear pet Fel Guard over there, whenever he uses the Soul Strike, it's actually also going to generate a Soul Shard. Then we also have Annihilation, I don't know how you say that, training. Your Fel Guard deals 20% more damage and you take 10% less damage. Not me. Just him. That was a misspell. Your Fel Guard deals 20% more damage and takes 10% less damage. So very nice. He just gets like he deals more damage and becomes more tankier. Then we also have Dreadbite here. Causes the target to take additional 20% for Shadow Flame damage from your spell and abilities for the next 12 seconds. So basically, when they actually do that Dreadbite, you know, when we summon the Dreadstalkers, and they do their dread bites, it makes them take 20% additional Shadow Flame damage from your spells and abilities for the next 12 seconds. So kind of like increases that damage we deal to them. This one is used in both raid and dungeon as well. Then we have Power Siphon. Instantly sacrifice 2 wild imps, but generate 2 charges of Demonic Core that causes Demon Bolt to deal 30% more damage. So, you know, the one we talked about up here, Demonic Core, that makes your Demon Bolt instant cast. Here we are sacrificing 2 of our imps, which we always have. We have always 2 imps. And then we get 2 charges to basically cast 2 Demonic Cores. And then basically they also deal 30% more damage. This one here, it's quite interesting. But this one here is inside the single button rotation, so you don't have to think about it. Like the only spell you actually have to think about is summoning a Demonic Tyrant and Implosion. So I would have imagined this one here would be one that was inside the single button rotation, but for some reason it's not. But yeah, I guess that's just how it is. Then we have, of course, a Summon Demonic Tyrant. Summons a Demonic Tyrant that increases the duration of your Dreadstalkers, Wildfind, Fel Guides, and up to 10 of your imps for 15 seconds. So basically, when you summon this guy here, he's going to make sure that all your pets you have is going to be there for 15 seconds longer. That is why this one is very important to not use at the start of a fight. You kind of need to summon all your demons and then you summon him, because then he's going to make them all be there for 15 seconds more. And we're going to talk more about this in the rotation part. Also, your Demonic Tyrant increases the damage of your affected demons by 25% while damaging your target. So, quite nice. We also have Grimoire Felguard. Summon a Felguard who attacks the target for 17 seconds. That deals 125 increased damage. This Felguard will stun and interrupt their target when summoned. So it's kind of like getting a second Felguard who helps you for 17 seconds, but he has a 2-minute cooldown, so you don't get him often. But still, he also get increased time. Like, you know, it says 17 seconds, but this one here is actually going to increase it by 15 as well. So he's going to be there for longer. Then we have the expendables. Let me just double check. Yeah, that one is actually also both a raid and tank. When your wild imp expire or die, your other demons are inspired and gain 1% additional damage, stacking up to 10 times. So whenever your imps are either exploded or, you know, they expire after casting 5 fire fell balls, they increase the damage of your other pets by 1%, which is quite nice. We also have Hand of Gul'dan has a 50% chance to cast a second time on your target for free. So whenever you use Hand of Gul'dan, there's actually a chance that a second one is going to drop and summon even more wild imps, which is crazy. Then we also have Master Summoner, increases mastery by 4 and reduce the cast time of Cold Dreadstalkers, Summon Wildfiend, and Summon Demonic Tyrant by 25%, which is quite nice. So you're basically going to be casting all your demons even faster. Then we also have Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt have a 20% chance to make your next Cold Dreadstalker cost 2 fewer soul shards and have no cast time. So basically right now it actually costs 2 soul shards. So what it's going to do is I am reading this correctly, right? Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt have a 20% chance to make your next Cold Dreadstalker cost 2 fewer soul shards and have no cast time. I mean, it already costs 2, so they could just have said, you know, it's free. But yeah, basically, so your Shadowbolt and Demon Bolt have a chance to make your next Cold Dreadstalkers basically free and have no cast time, so pretty nice. This one here is interesting, and this one, so you can see these 3 talents here is not used in the raid build and is only used in the dungeon build. But it's quite interesting because you probably remember in the old days we had this spell called Doom. So when Demon Bolt consumes a demonic core, it inflicts impending doom upon the target, dealing 123k shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards of its target. After 20 seconds or when removed. Damage is reduced beyond 8 targets. Each soul shard spent on Hand of Gul'dan reduced the duration of Doom by 1 second. So okay, let's try understand this one here. So when Demon Bolt consumes a demonic core, so you know demonic core was the one from up here that makes Demon Bolt be cast instantly. When you now use a Demon Bolt that is consuming a demonic core, so it's instant cast, it's gonna give them the curse called Doom, which is another spell that's gonna count down from 20 seconds down to 0 seconds. When this happens and it actually counts down and is done, it explodes and deal 110 to 20k damage to everyone around it in 10 yards. Which is now you can maybe understand why this is a dungeon only thing and not a raid thing, because in a raid, I mean, you would have to wait for those 20 seconds all the time and it would only deal 100k damage to the boss. I mean, it's not really worth it. But in a dungeon, it basically explodes and deals damage to a lot of mobs. Also, each soul shard spent on Hand of Gul'dan can, by the way, use up to 3 soul shards, is reducing the duration of Doom by 1 second. So basically by spamming after that Hand of Gul'dan on the target, it's going to keep reducing the time that you need before the Doom is exploding. So let's say Doom was on 15 seconds, you use a Hand of Gul'dan with 3 soul shards, then it loses 3 seconds very quickly and goes down to 14, 13, 12 seconds. So it basically just helps it to happen more often. So there is one thing here that is we also need to talk about in the rotation, is that whenever you can see that the single button assistant is about to cast Demon Bolt and you have like additional mobs like standing around you, you could try to click on the different mobs and make it cast Demon Bolt on them, because we don't have anything in the rotation that is important to keep casting on the same target. We can easily cast one Demon Bolt on one target, switch target, keep using your single button rotation until it casts Demon Bolt again, and switch again, and switch again, and switch again, and switch again. So this is just going to give you even more damage. Then we have two things that increases Doom. So increase the damage of Doom by 30%, and Doom summons one wild imp when it expires. So basically now it's also going to give us an imp, and it's going to deal 30% more damage. 30%, not 20, 30%. Now, when Doom expires, you have a chance to summon a Doom Guard that casts 5 Doom Balls before departing. Each Doom Ball deals 250k shadow damage each. So now, whenever Doom is expiring and exploding, there's actually a chance we summon a Doom Guard, the good old school Doom Guard, who keeps firing 5 Shadow Bolt, 5 Doom Balls, which deals 250k damage, which is quite a lot, and 5 of those. So yeah, it's just like an additional little effect. So again, very nice in Mythic dungeons, or delves or leveling content, but it does require a little management, because you kind of want to like keep switching targets to try getting Doom on all of them. Then we also have Summon Wildfind, basically just a very big demon that deals a lot of damage for 15 seconds. Then we also have Antoran Mans. Your Felguard deals for 20% additional damage. Soul Strike now deals for 25 of its damage to nearby enemies. So now whenever it's using Soul Strike, which is the spell we gave it, it also deals AoE damage. So that's quite nice that our Felguard now also deals just passively AoE damage all the time. Then we have increased the Wildfind damage by 20, and your Wildfind Wildfind Bile Spit now applies Wicked Maw, which is this one up here, where we are dealing 20% additionally Shadow Flame damage to them. So now Dreadstalkers do Wicked Maw, but we also do Wicked Maw with the Wildfind. Then we had this one here we already talked about, Critical Strike from all your spells and your demons deals 6% increased damage. So that means that when you actually do a Critical Strike damage, it will deal 6% additional damage. Then we also have Wicked Maw, which is the one up here. Causes the target to take 20% additionally shadow damage from your demons. So now, Wicked Maw is actually increasing the damage we do to them. So Dreadbind causes the target to take 20% additional Shadow Flame damage from your spells. But now, it also increases damage they take by additional 20% shadow damage from demons, which is quite nice. And then we also have this one here. So this one here is a quite important one, because this one here is, so we are basically upgrading our Wildfind, the big demon dog we're summoning. This one here is the one we're using in dungeon. This one here is the one we're using in raid. And of course the build is automatically picking the one for you. But this one here, so cloaked in ever-burning flames of the abyss, dealing 12k fire damage to enemies within 10 yards every second. So now it's basically having a burning aura on it that keeps burning everyone around it. Where this one here, causing the Gloomhound's melee attacks to deal an additional 25k shadow damage. So you can see on bosses, this is definitely more worth it, because it keeps dealing 25k, 25k, 25k. But this one here is way better against like dungeon delves leveling, because when you have like 5 mobs on you, it's dealing 12k damage to all these 5 mobs, which is more than the 25 here. So yeah. And then we have, when you consume Demonic Core, your primary Felguard carves your target, dealing 50k physical damage. So this is nice, because then whenever you're using Demon Bolt with Demonic Core, where it gets instant cast, your Felguard now will also deal 50k damage, just like boom, which is quite nice. We also have two other talents we only use in the raid tree. So in the raid tree, we didn't use this Doom thing here, because it's not really worth it. Instead, we have Hand of Gul'dan has a 100% chance to burn its target for 80k additional Shadow Flame damage every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. If this effect is reapplied, any remaining damage will be added to the new. So basically now, Hand of Gul'dan is also a burning spell, kind of like Immolate, but it's only really nice because, yeah, this is like a boss raid thing. So yeah, again, this is a raid thing, but it's pretty cool that it makes it just like keep taking burn damage. And then we also have this one over here, increase your primary Felguard's critical strike chance equal to 50% of your critical strike chance. So you're just gonna give your Felguard a lot of more crit. which we have chosen to use. I mean, this one here is good for everyone, but the problem is we also want these free over here in the dungeon build. So that's why this one is really good for the raid build. So again, raid build is more about dealing more damage to the target via targeting, and the dungeon build is dealing more damage to everyone. So yeah, that's the talents. Wow, that was a long part. So let's talk about the rotation. So there is a few steps that is very important that can make you deal way more damage than the average Demonology Warlock, because there is some hidden tricks. Of course, if we talk about the raid build is all about just dealing direct damage. You just have the raid boss, you just keep spamming 1, and you will be using your number 2 every time you have all your demons up. I will explain more about that. But for the dungeon build, we are having this spell called Doom. That one is very important, and there is a hidden tactic with it. First of all, let me show you a few. Before we start talking about Doom, let me start showing you the core rotation so you get an understanding on how it works. So basically, when we start spamming 1, it will start summoning a lot of demons. It will summon Dreadstalkers. It will summon Felguard. It will summon Wildfiend. What we need to do is, once we have summoned all those 3 demons, it's very important, then we press 2, because then we're going to summon a Demonic Tyrant, which is going to extend all the times on these demons with 15 seconds. It's also going to do it on our imps, but don't worry, there will be plenty of imps by itself, so don't think about the imps. The easy way you can see this is under your character over here. You can see there's like a timer, like a totem on each of your bigger summons. So you basically need to wait till you have 3 of those icons, and then you use number 2. Let's actually try it. So you're gonna be spamming 1. So 1, 1, 1. Okay, so far we got 2 of the pets. We still need 1 more. Now it comes the second one, and now press 2 very fast and just spam 1. Now you can see we got the 3 pets, we got the Torrent, and they all just got 15 seconds additionally time. So that's kind of what you're waiting for. You're waiting for all the 3 pets to be summoned. Then you press 2, and they're all gonna be there for a long time. That's the main rotation. That's both for the single target build, the raid build, and it's both for the dungeon build. That's like your main, that's your main thing. So again, like the open, of course, that's not gonna happen. If you find fighting against a boss in a raid, that's of course not gonna be able to happen all the time. Because when it's ready again, maybe you're only gonna have 1 or 2 summons, and then you just use them again, and you're gonna extend whoever you have. That's fine. But as an opener, this is very important. It's very important that this is gonna be the main opener. Summon all the demons, and then summon all the demons, and whenever it's about to, what am I trying to say? Summon all the demons, use your number 2, extend the time of all of them, and that's it. That's it. Then we also have a spell here called Implosion. Implosion is an insane LE ability. The reason for why it's not inside a single-botted system is because it's one you have to manually choose yourself. Basically what happens is that you are exploding the imps you have, the current imps you have. Each of them is going to deal 70k damage, but not just 70k damage, 70k damage to each of the targets. So for example, here we have 5 targets standing in front of me. If I explode 2 on it, it will actually deal 1 million damage. That was it. Just 1 million damage in 1 click, because each of them is dealing 70k damage to each of the targets. So it's 500k from one of them, 500k from one of them almost. So you could see 1 click and boom, 1 million damage. Imagine when I have 6 of them. That was 2. Imagine when I have 6 of the imps. So you should be using Implosion whenever there's like more than 2 or 3 mobs. Whenever there's more than 2 or 3 mobs, you should be sacrificing your imps through Implosion. If there's only 1 mob, it's not worth it. Then just let them cast their fireball. You know, they do their fireball. Just let them do their fireball, and that's probably better. So if more than 2 or 3 mobs, I would even say 2 could be a good thing. Because I mean, even like you can see it here, we have 2 mobs over here. Let's try and use our imps. Boom, and it's 400k damage. So even just 2 is worth it. So whenever there's more than 2 targets, explode your imps. Whenever it fits the rotation, you know. So what it would look like with having the explosion, for example, against these mobs here, would be something like, you know, we gotta be using one. Now we have to remember whenever it has summoned the free like summons we need, like now it's gonna do it. Then we need to use number 2 to extend them all. So now you can see we got extend them all. Very nice. Now it's gonna use Hand of Gul'dan. Now we have a lot of imps. Press free. Boom. Explosion. Whenever we have a lot of imps again, now, free, explode. That's it. So you keep pressing 1, you keep pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and whenever you see the imp number is about 4 to 6, press free, explode. So you can see down here the imp, it has like a number, now it's 5, press free, explode, boom. And now if we look into the damage here, we can see here, that implosion is actually our number 3 most damage deal, because the explosions are such an crazy damage. I'm really trying to make it. I'm trying to make it. I don't know why it says on like it's one of our summons that did a lot of damage. For some reason, the summons they look weird. I'm trying to make it sound like, because this one here is a bit more complicated than some of my other builds where we just press 1. Here we press 1, 1, 1, 1 until we have the 3 demons summoned. Then we press 2 to make them all extended. Whenever we have between 4 to 6 imps, we press 3 and explode them all. That's it. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Press 2 when we have 3 demons to extend them all. Press 3 whenever we have more between 4 and 6 like imps. You know, it has this number down here. Explode them to deal great AoE damage. On bosses, with the raid build, we don't need to do it. On bosses where we have the raid, like, you know, with the raid build, we don't have to sacrifice them, because it's not worthy. Like, it's not worth to sacrifice them, since each of the imps will only be 70k damage, and they're gonna actually deal more damage. They're gonna do more damage to a single target with their fireballs compared to multiple targets when exploding. Because when they explode, they deal 70k damage to all of them. 777. When they deal fireball damage, it's only like 30, 20, 20, 30, 20, 20, 30 on one target. So whenever there's more than one, like whenever there's +2, we explode them. When there's not more than 2 and only 1 boss, we don't explode them. That would be my recommendation. So regarding the rotation, if it was the raid build and we were doing raid, tagging a single target raid boss, that's it. No more. The part of the rotation video would be done. When it comes to dungeon build, there is one more thing. I know you're already like, do you have more? Yes, I have more. We have this one here called Doom, which is such a powerful spell. It basically, when we use our instant cast Demon Ball from Demonic Core, we apply a Doom to the target. When you see a Doom getting applied to your target, you need to ASAP switch from this target to another target to make also Doom on that target, and whenever that target has Doom, we switch to another target. So whenever you see the effect, the spell Doom on a target, you switch away from that target as fast as possible, because we want to be casting Doom on another target as well. We want to try and get as many Dooms out as possible, because when Doom happens, it's gonna spawn a wild imp. It's gonna deal about 300k damage to all of them. 300k, 300k, 300k. Very nice. And where is it? There. And when Doom expires, there's a chance to summon a Doom Guard, like a big, you know, the old school Doom Guard, who is going to cast the demon, like a Doom Ball that deals 250k damage 5 times. That's like 1.2 1.25, like 1.25 million damage, which is crazy. So let me try show you how that looks like. Let me try show you that. So you're gonna keep pressing 1. Again, we're gonna do the normal rotation. We're gonna summon all our demons. We're gonna wait for all the demons to be summoned. That's our first priority. Now we're gonna use number 2. Now we're gonna switch target because you saw that target actually had Doom on it. So we're gonna switch target until the target has Doom on it again. So we're just gonna keep pressing 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We're also gonna be using our explosion. So we're gonna press 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Just keep pressing 1 until it also has Doom on it. Now you can see we have one of those, and now it has Doom. Switch target very fast. And we're gonna press 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 again. And now it has Doom again. Now we're gonna switch target again. And I just pressed tab on my keyboard. Now it has Doom again. So basically now I have Doom on 2 active targets. Now I have Doom on all 3 of them. Like actually I have Doom on all of them. That's really nice. So now my Doom is gonna explode on all of them, dealing a lot of damage, and each of them has a chance to summon a Doom Guard. Technically, I could have 3 of Doom Guards standing with me and throwing spells, which is quite insane. So, okay, let's summarize on what we just talked about. You press 1 all the time until you have 3 of your demons, the big demons, as you can see over here. Then you press 2 to extend them all with 15 seconds, dealing a lot of damage. Then, whenever we have more than 2 targets, and we have between 4 and 6 imps, we should explode them. Then, whenever the target you're attacking has Doom on them, you should switch to another target because you want to have Doom on as many possible mobs as possible. There is one talent that might confuse you, because it says here, each soul shard spent on Hand of Gul'dan reduces the duration of Doom by 1 second. You might be thinking, is it more worth keep attacking the same target to reduce the time of Doom to make it explode faster? Well, let me tell you something that most people misunderstand with this one here. It doesn't reduce the time of Doom on the current target. It reduces on all your targets. So even if this one over here has Doom on it, and you use Hand of Gul'dan with 3 shards on this one here, it also reduces Doom on this one here. So that is why, this is the main thing on why whenever we have Doom on a target, we switch to another target to get more Dooms out. Because Doom, you can see here, Doom is a great little passive one. You can see it 5 million damage passively because we just keep switching target when it explodes. That is not bad. And then Doom Bolt here from the Doom Guard that we keep summoning, because we had so many Dooms up, we kept summoning like Doom Guards that was spamming Doom Bolts. So yeah, so that's it. I mean, again, this is a bit more, it's a harder class compared to the other ones I've been making, but I hope it makes sense. Else, feel free to ping me on Discord and I will try to explain it to you. But this is basically how it's supposed to work. So that's the default rotation. Just to do as always that I always do in my videos, let's talk about the other spells we have down here. We have Drain Life, basically a spell that drain, drain. So basically it's gonna drain, it's gonna deal damage 265k, and then it's gonna heal you for 500% of the damage done. So it's gonna heal you for a lot. So in case you are in a raid, dungeon, and you're about to die, you of course have your health stone, but you also have your Drain Life, where you can get a lot of health. Then we also have Soul Burn. We already talked about that one, but basically, as you can read down in the right corner, it's going to improve your spell, the next spell you're going to use. Either Teleport, Gateway, Drain Life, Health Funnel, Health Stone. Just increases them. I'm going to not read them just to save some time, because we already way over time. Then we have Demonic Circle. Makes a circle that you can teleport back to, and then we have Demonic Teleport here, so you can teleport back to it. We also have Mortal Coil, which is a spell that interrupts. It's one of our main interrupt spells. It has a 45 second cooldown. It fears the target. So if this target here was about to cast something we don't want, I could cast it on it, and it would interrupt it. Of course, this doesn't work on bosses, but it will work on all the trash mobs. We also have Dark Pact, sacrificing 20% of our health, but at least it gives us a shield by 200% of that, so it gives us a huge shield. Then of course you could use Demonic Healthstone to get back your life, if you wanted. We also have, and also keep in mind our Healthstone is stronger because of this one down here, and we can keep using it in combat, which is very nice, and even you can even create more in combat if you wanted. And yeah, so you could, in raids, as a Warlock, with this one down here, you can keep using Healthstones, where others, they can only use one every combat. Then we have Unending Resolve. It basically reduces all damage taken by 25, and you cannot be interrupted, silenced, or pushed back, like when you are using spells. Because we have this one here, it also heals us for 30% of our full HP. So now it's going to reduce all damage by 25, but also heal me for 30% of all my HP. And Warlocks, they have a lot of HP, so it's quite a lot. We also have Fel Domination. In case my pet died or something like that, I can use my Fel Domination, and then I can go into Summon Demons and summon my Fel Guard almost instantly. We also have a AoE stun, Shadow Fury, so it's a bit hard to use here, but it would target them all, stun them all. Again, if you're in a dungeon delve or something like that and you want to interrupt them all, then you can use Shadow Fury and boom, they all, get stunned. Another great interrupt. As a Demonology, we also have Axe Toes, so basically you're throwing an axe with your pet, and it also interrupts them. And then we have Fear. If they cast something we don't want to, or we don't want to fight this mob right now, you could fear it. So Warlocks actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 interrupts, which is crazy. We also have got Curse of Tonk, which makes the cast, like that one here, the casting time is increased by 30%. So if it casted a Chaos Bolt on, let's say, 1 second, it would be 1.3 seconds now. We also have Curse of Exhaustion, which makes them run 50% slower, or Curse of Weakness, which makes their attack speed 20% slower. We also have Soulstone. You can either cast Soulstone on someone before you go into a fight, or you can save it and combat risk someone. It's kind of like a trade-off, because if you die, then you're not able to combat risk others. Then if you had casted it already on the tank or healer, they could come back even you're dead. But if you don't use it, you can also combat risk whoever dies first in combat. So it's kind of like, should you use it before combat or should you save it? It's up to you. We also have Demonic Gateway, where you can set up a gateway in case you know that the raid has to always move between these 2 slots or positions. Then you can click on it, and then you have to wait 90 seconds before you can teleport again. And then we of course have Create Soulwell, where you can get health stones for your entire raid. Everyone is going to love you for that. You can also just create for yourself with Create Healthstone. Then we of course have Demonic Circle, where you can teleport to. Burning Rush for running very fast, but also it's going to eat up your life. So you can see my life is just keep getting eating. And Health Funnel, which is going to heal my pet, but it already has full HP, so yeah. That's all the spells. Let's try do some gameplay. Alright, let's see. Keep in mind that Demonology Warlock is a spec that requires a lot of build-up. It needs a lot of build-ups before it can actually do some decent damage. So as you can see right now, we're not doing top damage, but we're doing decent. Got our demons out, we do some explosions. Now we're just waiting to get some more imps so we can do some more explosions. We're actually doing top damage right now, which is not bad. But you saw the first 20 seconds we didn't do any damage at all. So it's a build that requires a lot of you need to get something built. I mean, of course, right now we got a Pit Lord coming out, so that one dealt a lot of damage. Now we have a mechanic where we need to go out and give beer to everyone. There you go. And we're not taking much damage because we have our shield on, our soul leech. But that's the thing with the warlocks, we are so tanky. There we go. Now let's see if we can get a few demons out. We're gonna settle with those two. Use our number 2. And there we go. Okay, everyone is level 80 in this group, so everyone is max level in this group here.
Your pal here signed some papers he didn't read, and now Goldie Bottom is BEO of this joint.
So let's see here. We can't do anything yet because we don't really have any like instant cast abilities except our imps that explodes. Now we can try and cast them. See if we can do some damage. Gonna do some explosions. Doing decent damage. At least more than the... Why is the hunter not doing any damage? Interesting. Still doing okay damage. The tank was dealing more damage. I think that's like probably maybe, I don't know, normal when there's like more than 10 mobs. Let's do like a boom. Of course, if we're doing this right here, we need to look every time we are applying like a doom on the target to switch target. But I mean, in this dungeon here, they die so fast, so I'm not even sure we can actually get the benefits of our doom. So I'm gonna use my number 2 because I don't think all my pits are ready to be cast. And he died. I don't even know how much damage did I do to him. Okay, I was number 1. That's nice. That's nice. You know, when people say that it's impossible to be number 1 damage as a... with single bottom. Currently got 9 imps out. I want to explode them. Boom, 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 boom. 5 million damage in one go. That is crazy. Oh, that's not a lot. He's old. Can't even cast my spells before they die. Explode. So of course for this low dungeon here, it's a bit harder to play because they keep dying and moving and stuff like that. But in a mythic dungeon where it takes a bit more time to slay things, you will have less problems. I'm gonna summon a few imps. Make them explode. Oh, the tank died. That's not good. Gonna try cast a soulstone on myself, so... Wait, was it the tank who died? I don't know. Someone died. Ah, damn it. I had 2 pets on, so I tried to cast my number 2 to, like, you know, get more time. I actually use my implosion now because there's more mobs, so it's gonna do like a lot of damage. Gonna use my implosion as well because there's more targets again. Very nice. Wait, what? Oh, we still have like 1 mob there. See, that's annoying because it really wants to like do. It wants to use my summon ability against that one mob, but I refused it, so I had like I had a spell in the right corner. I didn't want to waste a cooldown on one mob. That would be dumb. Oh, we're already fighting those guys. Well, let's just wait till they die. Okay, pre-summoning that one. Ah, come on. I just summoned my pet. Then we got all the free pets up. Nice. We're gonna use our number 2. And then we're just gonna be spamming 1. Just spamming 1. And look at the damage. Look at that damage. Very nice. Cool. That was the gameplay. We even got a bit of trinket. Look at that. Very nice. All right, let's jump to the summary part. So a very quick summary of Demonology Warlock. So basically, again, we are going first with intellect, haste, crit, mastery, and versatility. Both haste and critical strike is very important for you. I would say always try to go with the highest upgrade level. So you know when you are getting a new item, if it's an explore, always go up. If you have an adventure, never go down to explore again. Always go up, 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 up. So for example, you can see here, my trinket here is a veteran. That means I will stay on veteran. I will never go back again. Like I will never go back to adventure explore. I would always go to a higher upgrade level. So you know, the more I level, because intellect is such an important thing. Haste is making you cast faster, get more resources, making your demons faster. Just makes the entire rotation better, stronger. Critical strike is making everyone crit more, crit harder, because we have a talent here that makes critical strike damage even more. And we have another talent here which makes us get even more crit from our crit, which is quite nice. Then we have a dungeon talent here. The dungeon talent is all about doing most AoE damage. So this one here I would recommend using with dungeons, delves, questing, leveling, any AoE, like anything except raids. For raids, we have a specific tree which is all about single target damage. It's more about, like, you know, dealing damage to the target you're dealing damage to. Damage over time, a lot of different things. So this one here is supreme for single target damage, which we're gonna call the raid build. And we also have a dungeon build, which is more like damage to everyone, but it also adds one more thing to the rotation, which is the doom spell. Then if we talk about the rotation, it's basically you keep pressing 1 till you have 3 summons. You have your 3 demons summoned. So the Dreadstalkers, the Felguard, the Wildfind. So you keep pressing 1 until you have those 3 demons here on the left side, sorry. So you can see we keep now, press 2 to extend the time of all these demons. And now you just keep pressing 1, 1, 1, 1. If you fight again, now you can see we have our demons on for a very long time and we're gonna do great damage. Now, additional thing, if you fight more than 1 mob, it is worth to use the spell here called Implosion. Implosion is why you sacrifice your imps to explode, so you can see boom. And those imps, they just deal, like, well, a lot of damage. Let me just change this to current segment. There we go. They just deal, like, I just press 1 time and they deal almost 2 million damage for exploding. And again, press 3, and now they exploded 1 more time and they have now dealt 4 million damage. So whenever you have more than 2 targets, like literally just plus 2 targets, you should be using your number 3 here, Implosion, every time it has a number between 4 and 6. Now you can see again we have more than 4. Explode your imps, and they deal a lot of damage. On a raid boss, where it's just 1 raid boss, it's not worth doing it. Just, you know, keep having your imps there to throw fireballs. So again, single target, keep throwing fireballs. Multiple target, whenever there's more than 1, like literally whenever there's more than 1, plus 2, use explosion, this implosion one here, whenever you have between like minimum 4 imps, explode them, boom, and it will deal a lot of damage. That's it for the raid build. For the raid build, you don't have to think about more. That's basically it. For the dungeon build, we have this spell here called Doom. Basically, what you want to do is you want to keep pressing 1 on... When you do your rotation, you have to look out for the buff called Doom. Whenever you see the target you're attacking getting the buff called Doom, you need to switch target to another target. Now you can see it has Doom. It has this Doom effect on here that is going to explode after 20 seconds. Now you want to start damaging another mob until that one gets Doom, and you switch to another one, and you keep, that's kind of what you're going to do. You keep pressing your tab button to get to another target, because we want to have Doom on as many as possible. Because Doom, now we have on all 3 of them. So basically Doom is going to explode, dealing 300k to each of them damage, but also it has a chance to summon a Doom card, which is going to stand and cast a lot of Doom balls. So for the raid, you just of course keep attacking the boss, use your number 2 whenever you have your 3 demons spawned, of course. Now you can see we got the Doom card there, which comes from the spell Doom. So again, raid bosses, just spam 1, use your number 2 when you have your demons, use number 3 to explode whenever you have more than 2 mobs. And the dungeon build is the same, except we should keep swapping targets all the time to have more Dooms coming out as possible. That's the rotation. So that was a very quick summary of the talents, the stats, and the rotation. Thanks for watching. This was again a very, very long video, but that's because this build here is a bit more advanced, specific. I don't know, like it's a bit more rough than compared to other specs. It's just like it takes a lot of to explain this build here, because there's a lot of things we need to understand. So yeah, thanks for watching. I appreciate you all for watching these guides. Means a lot for me, because if no one was watching these, I wouldn't spend all these hours I used to basically make all these builds. Yeah. But we don't need many builds. I think we need like 11 builds, and then we have all the builds covered for the game, which is quite insane that we actually managed to get almost all of them done. But very nice. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, if you have any comments for it, if anything you feel like I missed. And else, yeah, in case you want to support the channel, feel free to become a YouTube member. You will also get exclusive content in that way, just like behind the scenes stuff and so on. And your name will be in the credits when the credits rolls. So yeah. Thanks for watching. This was a long video. I appreciate you all for watching.